Marat Safin. Marat Safin's 2000 US Open title run was beyond impressive. At just 20 years old, the Russian blasted his way through the draw and dismantled Pete Sampras in the final. 6-4, 6-3, 6-3. Straight sets in under 2 hours against a 5-time champion. And it wasn't even close. Safin played flawless first strike tennis. He fired around 12 aces, hit 37 winners, and committed about a dozen unforced errors in the final against one of the most efficient players in tennis history. Sampras had no answer. Every big serve came back with interest. Every short ball was punished, and every opportunity was snatched with aggression. What made Safin's run special was the mental clarity he showed. Known for his emotional volatility, he remained calm throughout the tournament and utilized his massive game with immense control. In that 2000 final, he won 85% of first serve points and broke Sampras 4 times, a rare feat against a player with one of the best service holds of all time. Despite facing an imposing legend like Pete, Safin only faced 2 breakpoints throughout the match, and that was in the final service game, but he warded them off, keeping the nerves at bay. Safin's playing style was power-based, but deceptively smooth. He stood tall on the baseline at 6'4", hit his two-handed backhand like a hammer, and absorbed pace with ease. He was one of the few players who could redirect a 120-mile-per-hour serve for a clean winner. He used a personally customized Head Prestige Classic racket, heavy, control-oriented, with a small head size that rewarded clean contact. Safin's technique was fluid, a huge, explosive forehand, a compact, balanced backhand, and elite movement for a man his size. His shot placement was laser-sharp, consistently painting the lines on both wings, especially on breakpoints. More importantly, Safin had to battle through the first 3 rounds of the tournament, needing 14 sets, including an incredible 5-set thriller versus Sébastien Grosjean. From the 4th round onwards, he steamrolled everyone else, dusting off seed after seed from Juan Carlos Ferrero to the giant Todd Martin in the semis. His victory over Sampras was the final stamp, a performance that made people believe they were watching the next all-time great. And while Safin never reached those heights again, for 2 weeks in New York, he was absolutely unstoppable. Lleyton Hewitt. Lleyton Hewitt didn't overpower his way to the 2001 US Open title. He simply outworked everyone else on the lineup. At just 20 years old, Hewitt defeated Pete Sampras in the final. 7-6, 6-1, 6-1, delivering one of the most lopsided beatdowns ever seen in a Grand Slam final, especially against a player of Sampras's caliber, and he did it with barely half a dozen aces. What he lacked in firepower, Hewitt made up for in relentless movement and an elite return game. In that final, he won a staggering 84% of first service points and broke Sampras 6 times, a nearly impossible task against a man who lived off service holds. His return position was a deep, low stance with perfect timing. Sampras landed around 63% of his first serves and still got broken over and over again. While we could attribute some of that to the gushing wind disrupting Sampras's flow, Hewitt more than held his own and stayed focused throughout the match. The key to Hewitt's game was controlled aggression from the baseline. He used his speed to track down every ball, then countered with depth and angles. His two-handed backhand was rock solid. His forehand was a whip that he rolled cross-court or flattened down the line. He hit 36 winners, including service, to just 13 unforced errors in the final, showing hyper-disciplined shot selection even under pressure. But Hewitt's biggest strength? Mental energy. He kept the intensity sky high, pumping his fists after every point, constantly reminding opponents, "I'm not going away." His racket, Yonex Super R D-Tie 70, offered tight control and a crisp string bed that rewarded his timing. He strung it relatively high, giving him extra precision on returns and passing shots. And passing shots were crucial in this battle. The 7 return winners, including 6 backhands Hewitt had, were all passes, and he had at least 15 other passes in the match, showing just how ridiculously efficient he was. The 2001 US Open was more than just Hewitt's breakout season. It was a seismic shift in how people saw him. He was seen as the returner who dismantled one of the greatest servers ever. A grinder who outclassed a legend. and a 20-year-old Aussie who became the youngest world number 1 in ATP history just weeks later. Andy Roddick. If Pete Sampras had the greatest second serve of all time, Andy Roddick had the fastest first, and in 2003, it was the nuclear weapon that won him the US Open. Roddick steamrolled through the tournament and crushed Juan Carlos Ferrero in the final. 6-3, 7-6, 6-3, firing 23 aces and holding a monstrous 51% unreturned serve in just under 3 hours. It was the first and only Grand Slam title of his career, but for those 2 weeks, Roddick looked unplayable. The raw numbers were absurd. During the tournament, Roddick hit serves consistently over 130 miles per hour, with multiple hits recorded at about 140 miles per hour. He finished the tournament with 123 aces. In the final alone, he won 89% of his first service points and regularly held serve in under a minute. Opponents couldn't read him, couldn't touch him, and when they did, they paid for it on the next ball. The interesting part is that Ferrero wasn't even playing badly at all. He matched Roddick on almost every metric except that monster serve. But Roddick wasn't just serving well. He was blasting great forehands. On second serves, he'd step inside the baseline and rip inside-out forehands for outright winners. Tactically, it was simple. Serve big, hit big, repeat. He kept points under 5 shots whenever possible. His rally ball wasn't loopy. It was flat, deep, and had a heavy pace off both wings. And when things got tight, like in the second set tiebreak, he served back-to-back straight aces to close it out. Roddick used the Babolat Pure Drive, a stiff, power-oriented frame that suited his explosive style. Strung with polyester, it gave him the pop and spin to hit massive serves and heavy kick-second deliveries. Even when opponents created opportunities, Roddick slammed the door shut. His serve acted like a panic button, resetting the pressure anytime it started to build. By the end of the tournament, he'd lost just 3 sets and climbed to world number 1. Andy Roddick never won another slam, but in 2003, he served his way into the history books, a title built on pure firepower, fearlessness, and flawless execution. Roger Federer, 5 consecutive US Open titles, 34 straight match wins in New York. From 2004 to 2008, Roger Federer literally steamrolled every single opponent, no matter their ranking or status. 2004, Federer beat Lleyton Hewitt in the final, 6-0, 7-6, 6-0. That's not a typo. He bageled one of the best returners in tennis twice. Federer hit 37 winners, including aces, committed 29 unforced errors, and served 80% first serves. It was a masterclass in variation, mixing kick serves, flat deliveries, and pinpoint accuracy to keep Hewitt guessing. Hewitt didn't play particularly well in that match, but he wasn't particularly bad either. It's just that everything Hewitt could do, Federer could do it 10 times better, with even more efficiency. 2005, he took down Andre Agassi in 4 sets, 6-3, 2-6, 7-6, 6-1. Federer didn't find it easy this time, unlike the previous year. He faced a determined Agassi, but still ended up firing 36 winners, winning 74% of first service points, and an incredible 80% return rate. When you combine all of that with 21 aces and a 41% unreturned serve, you'll realize Federer won because he was just too good. In 2006, Federer faced Andy Roddick and neutralized the American's biggest weapon. Despite Roddick's 130-plus MPH serves, Federer won the final, 6-2, 4-6, 7-5, 6-1, returning deep, blocking back second serves, and forcing extended rallies. He converted 6 of 16 break points across 8 games, showing elite timing under pressure. It was Novak Djokovic who was standing between Federer and a 4th consecutive US Open title in 2007. The mercurial Serbian pushed hard, but Federer still won in straight sets, 7-6, 7-6, 6-4. Djokovic had 7 set points across the first 2 sets. Federer saved them all. The difference between the two? Clutch serving, 11 aces, 78 first serve points won, and zero panic. When 2008 rolled around, it was Andy Murray's turn to try and stop Federer from a 5-peat. Well, as you well know, he didn't. He got crushed. 6-2, 7-5, 6-2. It was a rocky year for Federer, but he brought back his A-game when he got to America hard courts. He hit 27 winners, excluding serves. He also won 79% of his first serve points and 73% of net points. Federer controlled the tempo from start to finish, cutting off angles and finishing points quickly. Throughout these 5 years, Federer used the Wilson Pro Staff RF97 autograph with natural gut/poly hybrid strings. His serve was deceptively fast, hovering around 120 to 125 miles per hour, but perfectly placed. His forehand was fluid and explosive, his backhand a mix of slice control and topspin drive. Federer's US Open dominance wasn't built on just one weapon. It was total balance. No man has matched 5 straight US Open titles. No man has made it look so easy. Juan Martín del Potro. In 2009, Juan Martín del Potro pulled off the near impossible. He beat Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer back-to-back to win his first and only Grand Slam title. And he did it in a way that left fans, analysts, and even his opponents stunned. The final against Federer was a 5-set battle. 3-6, 7-6, 4-6, 7-6, 6-2. Federer was going for his 6th straight US Open title. Del Potro, just 20 years old, had never even been to a major final. But for over 4 hours, he went toe-to-toe with the best player of all time and hit through him. Del Potro's strategy was simple. Stand tall, take big cuts, and live or die by the forehand. In that final, he hit 31 forehand winners, many clocking over 100 miles per hour. Even Federer, arguably the cleanest striker in tennis, couldn't neutralize the pace. The numbers tell the story. Del Potro hit 49 total winners, including aces, and won 72% of first serve points. His serve, averaging between 120 and 125 miles per hour, was especially lethal down the tee. On break points, he won 5 of 15 in 9 games, converting almost every solid opportunity he got. But the defining moment came in the 5th set. After battling through 2 tiebreaks and outlasting Federer in long baseline exchanges, Del Potro steamrolled through the final set 6-2, showing not just stamina, but dominance. In the semifinals, he had dismantled Nadal 6-2, 6-2, 6-2, hitting 35 winners and breaking the Spaniard's serve 6 times. That match lasted just over 2 hours and marked one of Nadal's worst slam losses at the time. Del Potro used the Wilson K factor, K6-1-95, strung tight to control the sheer power he generated. His backhand, though solid, was used mainly to set up the forehand. His court position was aggressive. He stepped in early and hit flat even on the rise. Tactically, he wasn't trying to construct points. He was trying to end them. Short balls were punished, high balls were obliterated, and even deep, heavy shots from Federer were returned with depth and venom. Del Potro's 2009 US Open was more than a title for him and the ATP, because someone finally stood tall enough to disrupt the Federer-Nadal era. And though injuries would derail the rest of his slam career, for one tournament, he was unquestionably the best player in the world. Rafael Nadal. Rafael Nadal's path to 4 US Open titles wasn't built on one style. It was built on reinvention. From high topspin lefty dominance to smart serve placement and net aggression, Nadal adapted with every win. 2010. This was the year Nadal completed his career Grand Slam. In the final, he beat Novak Djokovic 6-4, 5-7, 6-4, 6-2 with a serving performance that shocked everyone. He hit 8 aces, including 4 service winners, averaged 125 miles per hour on first serves, and most notably, introduced a brand new flat serve down the tee, specifically for faster courts. He also won 78% of net points, a nod to his willingness to shorten rallies on hard court. On the return, he stood deep but consistently neutralized Djokovic's serves, winning a massive 86% return rate, including 26 runaround forehands that destabilized the relentless Serb big time. 2013 was a completely different Rafa. Slimmer, faster, and hitting flatter than ever. He beat Djokovic again in the final, this time in 4 sets. 6-2, 3-6, 6-4, 6-1. This match was won from the baseline, but not with high looping topspin. Nadal stepped in, took time away, and hit 25 winners, excluding serves, over 4 sets. His serve, now hovering near 130 miles per hour, won him 65% of first serve points. Nothing crazy, but against Djokovic on hard courts, it's pretty solid. On second serves, he was aggressive too, with a massive 84% return rate, often catching Djokovic off balance. His net game was just as clean too, winning 14 of 18 points at net. With Federer and Djokovic sidelined in 2017, Nadal asserted himself fully over everyone else. In the final, he dismantled Kevin Anderson, 6-3, 6-3, 6-4. It was textbook baseline control. Rafa hit 25 winners to just 12 unforced errors, dominated with deep forehands, and neutralized Anderson's serve with perfect depth on returns. Notably, he came to the net 17 times, including 5 serve volleying, winning every single one of those points. He kept points short, averaging under 5 shots per rally, showing that the new Rafa was about efficiency, not grinding. In 2019, arguably his most dramatic title, Nadal outlasted Daniil Medvedev in 5 sets, 7-5, 6-3, 5-7, 4-6, 6-4, in a match that went nearly 5 hours. Medvedev pushed Nadal to the limit, but Rafa responded with clutch serving, winning 77% of first serve points. Nadal also displayed incredible court coverage, hitting 49 winners, excluding aces across 5 sets. Rafa's return game again proved elite too. He broke Medvedev 6 times and forced rallies on nearly every service game. Equipment-wise, Nadal used the Babolat Pure AeroPro drive, built for spin and power, strung with RPM Blast polyester. His topspin forehand averaged over 3,000 RPM, one of the highest ever recorded, while his backhand became more compact and flat over the year, giving him more success on low, fast courts like New York. Across all 4 titles, Nadal's adaptability stood out. He changed serve patterns, altered court positions, and shortened points, all without sacrificing the intensity and shot tolerance he's known for. From 2010 to 2019, he proved hard courts could be his domain too. Novak Djokovic. No one plays the angles like Novak. No one absorbs pace like Novak. And when it comes to grinding down opponents in New York's humidity and chaos, few have done it better or longer. 2011. This was peak Novak. He went 64 wins to 2 losses that year, and his US Open win was the crown jewel. In the final, he beat Nadal 6-2, 6-4, 6-7, 6-1, returning serve like a machine with an outstanding 84% return rate against one of the best defenders in tennis. His stats from that match were not crazy number-wise, but they were cold-blooded. 40 winners excluding serves, 55% success at the net, and a 69% first serve percentage. Djokovic controlled every rally length, forcing Nadal into awkward positions, flattening out his backhand, and using his elite two-handed backhand to redirect pace. In the 2015 final, Djokovic beat Federer in 4, 6-4, 5-7, 6-4, 6-4. The match featured plenty of net approaches from Federer, but Djokovic passed him again and again. He won 6 of 13 breakpoints, saving a staggering 19 breakpoints created by Federer, who couldn't convert the numerous chances he had to turn the tide of the match. What made this win different was Djokovic's use of precision on serve placement, not just speed. He averaged 115 miles per hour, but hit the right targets. He also returned Federer's first serve at a deep, shoulder-high level, taking time away and flipping control instantly. While the 2015 final was iconic, it was in the 2018 win that Novak was the most clinical. He crushed Juan Martín del Potro 6-3, 7-6, 6-3, outlasting him physically and mentally. He neutralized Delpo's forehand by pinning him to the backhand corner and mixing deep slices and sharp angles. He won 68% of first serve points, broke Del Potro 4 times in 5 games, and committed just 36 unforced errors across 3 sets. He came to the net 35 times and won 74% of those points, showing total tactical variety. By the time the 2023 final rolled around, Djokovic was 36 years old, and yet he beat Daniil Medvedev 6-3, 7-6, 6-3. Medvedev had beaten him in the 2021 final, but this time Novak adjusted. He used more serve and volley, especially on second serves, winning 20 of 22 net points with that alone. He shortened points and refused to get pulled into endless rallies. His shot tolerance was still elite. In the tiebreak, he won 4 points in a row on Medvedev's serve by absorbing pace and redirecting with precision. He finished with 33 winners, excluding aces, 38 combined unforced errors, and 81% first serve points, a near-perfect performance under immense pressure. Djokovic's racket, a customized head PT 113B Pro stock, strung with a hybrid of gut and poly, gave him both flex and pop. His court positioning was often inside the baseline, especially on second serves, where he consistently took time away from servers and won an average of 50% of return games across all 4 title runs. Across these 4 titles, Djokovic didn't always find it easy, but he survived the grind and eventually mastered it. No wasted movement, no uncalculated risk, just systematic breakdowns of every opponent on the biggest stage. Dominic Thiem. In a year unlike any other, Dominic Thiem delivered a US Open final that was equal parts brutal, bizarre, and historic. He beat Alexander Zverev 2-6, 4-6, 6-4, 6-3, 7-6, and 8-6 in a match that defied every pattern of play. Let's get this out of the way. It wasn't pretty. The final had about 120 unforced errors between both players. But the story wasn't about polish. It was about resilience, pressure, and surviving the weight of expectation. Thiem had already reached 3 Slam finals without a win, 2 at Roland Garros, and 1 at the Australian Open. In New York, with Federer and Nadal absent and Djokovic disqualified earlier in the tournament, the door was finally open. But in the final, he stumbled out of the gate. Down 2 sets in a break, Thiem looked cooked. Then came the shift. He started hitting heavier ground strokes, aimed at Zverev's forehand, and pushed the German into deeper court positions. By the 3rd set, Thiem's strategy was clear. Take the ball early, redirect pace, and force Zverev to hit from uncomfortable spots. He cut down on errors, improved first serve percentage, ending the match with 68% of first serve points won, including 8 aces. This switch of approach helped Thiem to start grinding Zverev's legs with long rallies. The physical toll was visible. Zverev's serve, hitting between 120 and 135 miles per hour earlier, dropped to the low 120s in the 5th set. Thiem capitalized, returning deep and winning a 72% return rate by the end of the match. Despite hitting 8 double faults and struggling with cramps in the final set, Thiem dug deep. He broke Zverev at 5-3 and 5-5 and won the final set tiebreak by playing aggressively, stepping in, taking risks, and hitting a clutch forehand winner. At 6-6, Thiem used the Babolat Pure Strike, a racket designed for control and flat power. His one-handed backhand was crucial all match, especially on return games, redirecting pace down the line and creating space for his inside-out forehand. Statistically, he finished with 32 winners, excluding aces, and net approaches up to 77% in 5 sets, winning 20 of 26 points at net. Thiem became the first man born in the 1990s to win a Grand Slam title, and the first to come back from 2 sets down in a US Open final in the Open era. It wasn't domination, it was survival, and that made it unforgettable. Daniil Medvedev. September 12th, 2021. The crowd at Arthur Ashe was ready to witness history. Novak Djokovic was 1 win away from completing the first men's calendar year Grand Slam since Rod Laver in 1969. The only thing standing in his way was Daniil Medvedev, the number 2 seed. Calm, clinical, and absolutely locked in. Final score, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4, not even a tiebreak. Medvedev played the match of his life and did it his way. Unconventional strokes, deep, flat hitting, and elastic movement that absorbed everything Djokovic threw at him. The key stat in this match was Medvedev hitting 33 winners to just 34 combined unforced errors, compared to Djokovic, who had 24 winners and about 41 unforced errors combined. Medvedev kept Djokovic guessing with wide slice serves and quick flat bombs down the teeth. Djokovic, one of the best returners in history, couldn't break Medvedev once until late in the third, and even then, Medvedev broke him right back. From the baseline, Medvedev dictated the pace with his two-handed backhand, deep, flat, and impossible to attack. He stood far behind the baseline on return, but once rallies started, he stepped in and took control. He won 57% of second serve points, a number rarely seen against Novak. But the biggest understated element in this matchup was Medvedev's footwork. Despite his 6 feet 6 inches frame, Medvedev slid on hard courts, recovered position fast, and turned defense into offense within a single stroke. He forced plenty of long rallies, over 10 shots in the final, and won most of them. He used the Technofiber T-Fight 305 RS, strung tight for control over power. His strings gave him the confidence to flatten balls that others would spin, and his compact swings allowed him to redirect pace with minimal motion. Tactically, he did the impossible. He outgrinded Novak Djokovic, playing longer rallies, hitting deeper balls, and managing his energy with laser focus. He wasn't trying to overwhelm Djokovic. He was trying to exhaust him mentally and emotionally. And it worked. With this win, Medvedev not only claimed his first slam, but also became the first Russian man to win a Grand Slam since Marat Safin, and the first to beat Djokovic in a slam final in straight sets. Carlos Alcaraz. At just 19 years old, Carlos Alcaraz became the youngest man ever to reach #1 in ATP history after capturing the 2022 US Open. And he didn't just scrape through, he went the distance, winning 3 5-set matches in a row before taking out Casper Ruud in the final, 6-4, 2-6, 7-6, 6-3. Alcaraz played 23 hours and 40 minutes across the tournament, more than any slam champion in history. But you wouldn't know it from his energy levels. His sprint speed, recovery ability, and willingness to chase down every ball became one of the defining themes of the tournament. Let's talk about the final. He hit 55 winners, including 14 aces, and won 74% of his first serve points. On second serve points, he won 52%, breaking Ruud's serve 3 times. His net game was electric. He came in 50 times and won 66 of those points, including 75% serve volleying, 75% off first serve, and 75% off second serve. Alcaraz's playing style is what made him so dangerous. He could hit 115 miles per hour forehands, but also feather in drop shots from behind the baseline. He changed pace, mixed angles, and kept Ruud and every other opponent off balance. His variety forced long rallies, but he also ended points with clean winners. One of his signature tactics was the drop shot lob combo. He'd pull opponents forward with the drop, then flick a lob over their heads, executing that combo with ruthless consistency. Alcaraz played with the Babolat Pure Aero 98, strung to balance, spin, and control. His racket helped him rip high RPM forehands while still flattening out backhands when needed. His movement, particularly his explosive lateral first step, allowed him to cover angles and extend rallies that looked lost. With his 2022 win, Alcaraz became the youngest US Open champ since Pete Sampras in 1990, and the first teenager to win a slam since Nadal in 2005. Winning a slam title in the manner he did was a declaration to the rest of the tour. A new generation had arrived, and Carlos Alcaraz was leading the charge. Jannik Sinner. At just 23 years old, Jannik Sinner became the first Italian man in history to win the US Open, capping off a season where he had already conquered the Australian Open. And in New York, he did it his way, methodical, relentless, and precise, dropping just 2 sets the entire tournament before taking out Taylor Fritz in the final, 6-3, 6-4, 7-5. While much of the spotlight had shifted to the rising American, Sinner arrived at Arthur Ashe with ice in his veins and a game engineered for the moment. And across 2 hours and 27 minutes, he completely dismantled Fritz's serve-based attack and turned the biggest night of American tennis into a quiet Italian coronation. Sinner hit 26 winners, including returns, excluding serves. He also dished out 6 aces and won 88% of points on his first serve, a really world-class number. He converted 6 of 12 break points, returned a huge portion of Fritz's serves for winners or immediate control, and played from the baseline with depth and angle. But it wasn't just the clean numbers, it was the way he cut the court. Sinner dominated exchanges between 5 and 8 shots, winning about 60% of them, forcing Fritz into awkward defensive positions. And when rallies extended past 9 shots, Sinner still held a clear edge. Fritz, who had been winning nearly half of all baseline points throughout the tournament, was completely powerless against Sinner, getting pinned behind the baseline and neutralized with depth and timing. Even Fritz's serve, usually untouchable, didn't help. Sinner read it early, stood just far enough back to react, and then stepped in when needed. Sinner's movement, which was already world-class, hit another level in this match. He slid into hard court shots like it was clay, recovered like a sprinter off the blocks, and turned defense into offense in a blink. Even when Fritz threw the kitchen sink at him, a few serve and volley attempts, some drop shots, Sinner was there. And his racket, the Head Speed MP, strung tight for control, perfectly matched Sinner's linear swing mechanics. It allowed him to flatten out forehands, redirect pace, and handle high balls with low margin of error. His serve, once criticized, had become a major weapon, averaging 125 miles per hour, but landing with consistent placement and disguise. Sinner's semifinal against Daniil Medvedev may have been his finest tactical performance of the tournament. He handled Medvedev's deep court retrieval game by controlling the middle, playing to short corners, and finishing points early when needed. He did more of the same in the final. With his US Open victory, Sinner became only the 4th man ever to win both hard court slams in a single season, joining Djokovic, Federer, and Agassi. And unlike those legends, Sinner did it in his first year as a Grand Slam champion. And just like that, Sinner had everyone, including Alcaraz, on high alert. And he has only gotten better since. So, what are your thoughts about all these champions? Let us know in the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe because we'll be posting a lot here. See you next time.